All right. Good afternoon, Philadelphia. How are you? It's a little hot out there, isn't it? Yeah, it makes me think that new uniform in the Senate that John Fetterman has with hoodies and sweatshorts isn't such a bad idea after all. So here's the problem, Pennsylvania. We got two senators, one who won't wear a suit and one who's an empty suit. And that, my friends, that is why I'm running for the Senate. I think I feel I think you're here for the same reason I'm here. Because if you believe that America is the greatest country in the world, which I do, and you believe that you've been blessed by everything America has to offer, which I do, and you believe America's in deep, deep trouble, which I do, you got to get in the ring. You got to do your part. You got to fight to get America back on track. That's why you're all here. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your support for President Trump. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. So, I'm a Pennsylvania kid, 7th generation. I grew up in Bloomsburg in Northeast Pennsylvania. We got any Bloomsburgers? All right, I like that. And, I worked, my folks had a farm. I worked baling hay and trimming Christmas trees. I played football. I wrestled. Wrestling got me to West Point. I served in the 82nd Airborne Division, went to Iraq. Thank you for all you veterans. Thank you. Came back to Pennsylvania, ran a business that created a lot of jobs. My wife, who's the better half in our family, she was born in Egypt and immigrated to the United States as a Christian so she could practice her Christian faith right here in America. And she worked her way through University of Texas, has had this amazing career in business and politics, and she got to be the Deputy National Security Advisor for President Trump last time around and helped work on the Abraham Accords. So we feel like we are uniquely blessed. We've lived the American dream, and that American dream that we all love is slipping away. It's not going to be there for our kids. It's not going to be there. America right now, unless we change direction, is in decline. We're in decline. Just look at it economically. Just look what's happened under the 3 years of Joe Biden. Compare it to the economy that existed under President Trump till now, right? 60% of Pennsylvanians live paycheck to paycheck, 60%. Prices have gone up more than 20%. Gas is up 50%. A new mortgage is twice what it was. So new home purchases are much lower than they used to be. This economy is not working for most Pennsylvanians. It's not working for most Americans under Joe Biden. Bidenomics is a failure. And we need to return to pro-growth policies. Created the economy under President Trump, low employment, low inflation, wage growth. We need to go back to those days. But think about the border, right? The border. If we were sitting in a room together on the first day of the Biden administration, knowing he was going to change the policies, and we said to ourselves, how bad could it get? We would have never imagined it could get this bad. Never imagined. 10 million illegal migrants have entered our country. 10 million, right? I went to the border 3 weeks ago in the middle of the night at 2 in the morning. I watched 50 people walk right across the border where the wall was open. 5 of them illegal military-age men from Syria, 5 of them Chinese nationals. The border is an absolute disgrace, an absolute crisis. This week alone, This week alone, we had three separate occasions where illegal immigrants were charged for murder or rape in Maryland, in New York, in Houston. People are less safe across our Commonwealth and across our country because of the wide open border policies of Joe Biden. And that doesn't even talk about fentanyl. Fentanyl. We lost 4,000 Pennsylvanians last year from fentanyl, almost 100,000 across our country. For those of you who remember, that's almost twice what we lost in Vietnam in 8 years. We lost 2 Vietnams last year from fentanyl, from the wide open border policies, the disgraceful border policies of Joe Biden. And you all in Philadelphia, you know about the crime, right? You know about the crime. Violent crime at an all-time high. This guy, Larry Krasner, right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine a policy where you don't get prosecuted if you steal less than $1,000? I was in Chester County the other day. I went into a sporting goods store. I said, how are sales? Said, sales are great. Gun sales are really good because suburban women are buying handguns to protect themselves in the suburbs, right? And then you gotta talk about everywhere we turn around the world, we're getting tested and challenged because our adversaries think America's weak. Iran is testing us with attacking American troops through its terrorist proxies. China rattling its saber because they think our military is getting weaker and they think our commander-in-chief is not up to the task. You know, I'm 58. I was a soldier during the Cold War. We used to talk about nuclear annihilation. I was in the first wave of troops into Iraq. I was in the middle of the financial crisis. I've never been more worried about the future of our country and things outside of our control taking us in a direction where we lose control than I am at this moment under President Joe Biden. And that's why we must win this election. That's why we will win this election. That's why we need to get our country back on track. And we're gonna win. President Trump's gonna win. I'm gonna win. We're gonna win up and down the ticket here in Pennsylvania. Because people want to change, they want to get rid of Joe Biden, and they want to get rid of Bob Casey, who votes 98% of the time with Joe Biden. We're going to win for 3 reasons. Number 1, 80% of Pennsylvanians, 80% think the country's going in the wrong direction, right? That inflation, that wide open border, that attack on oil and gas, those aren't Republican problems. Those aren't white people problems or black people problems. Those are all of our problems, and the policies of Joe Biden is destroying our country. The second reason we're gonna win is that we're united. We're united as a party. We know we have to fight. We have to fight to get our country back on track. And the third reason we're gonna win is this movement right here. This movement. You can feel it everywhere we go, right? People are afraid. They're afraid for their economic security. They're afraid for their physical security. 2/3 of us, put me in this camp, 2/3 of us, we think our kids are gonna be less well off than we are. 2/3. 2/3 of us, right? And that's why we all agree we need new leadership. We must have new leadership. We need new leadership for an economy. We need a president in the White House with pro-growth economic policies, deregulation that brings back our business community. We need leadership. We need leadership in the White House and the Senate to secure our border. We need leadership that's going to open up our energy sector, which is the #1 industry in Pennsylvania that can change our future. And we need leadership that is going to show the world that America is back, peace through strength. We need leadership that's going to restore the American dream for your kids, for my kids, for our grandkids, and for the future of our country. And I'll end, because we got the main event here coming, but I'm going to end by saying the following. Throughout our lifetimes, anybody that's been around for a while, politicians have said, this is the most important election of your lifetime. How many times have we all heard it? We've all heard it, right? I want to ask you all to think of a single election in your lifetime where the country seems so fragile, where the future seems so uncertain, where the risk of getting it wrong seems so profound. I can't think of one. This is the election. This is the election. We have to treat it like our life depends on it, because it does. Thank you. God bless Pennsylvania. God bless America.